So is anybody, probably the easiest way to do this is, I'm sure people have some questions about what happened in our lives and what happened when we were doing this job. So anybody have a question, we'll see what we can do with it.
What was your favorite moment in Bambi when playing as Thumper?
Favorite moment while recording it, or just the experience on the set?
Well, just the experience well, actually anything. Whether it be the ball or the cast or recording.
You're gonna have to speak up a little bit. You've got two old guys.
You're way back there in Oregon somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, my memorable, I have two big memories from the whole experience, and one was being down at the little zoo that Disney had, because he wanted to be at the animators to be able to see in real life the movement of particularly the deer and Bambi, because their legs go backwards. So they had a little zoo. They had a rabbit and a skunk that was de-skunked, and a couple of deer. And so the animators took me down to the zoo at one point, so we could, and there's a picture of me somewhere, which I don't think I have with me, of me holding little rabbit, Thumper, and Disney was there at the same time, so I had an opportunity to meet him and see what kind of a guy he was. He was a very nice person. Donnie had a little more contact with Disney than I did, but it was, at that time, seemed like a big studio, but compared to what it became, it was still pretty small. But anyway, that was a big experience for me, and then I have really vivid memory of being in a recording booth with a director. And since I was 4 and not gifted particularly in terms of reading, the director would read the lines with the inflection and so forth, and I would repeat them after. And that was my voice, and the director always tried to make it fun, so there was laughter and all going on. But the recordings were done on a huge disc. And I have all I can think of is from way back at the beginning of phonographs and recordings, that it was a hard wax of some sort. I don't know that vinyl was in the picture at that point, but anyway, it was impressive. I've always liked mechanical things, and the recording, a big arm came over, and the disc was definitely twice the size of an LP. And so that experience was very memorable.
Let me put a tag on here. I had an experience, a couple of them, get fired for. Okay? I had done 7 films with real parts: Son of Frankenstein, Tower of London, Faribault Films. Just one second.
Is the microphone? We can't quite hear.
I beg your pardon.
Thank you, thank you.
I've done several films. Is that right?
No, it's not.
We don't have a moderator here. We're doing our own moderation. This work?
Sorry.
I think that one was on.
Well, I bet you
I
this
was
one.
just speaking loud.
Yes, that one was on.
This old battalion commander don't need a microphone.
Thank you.
I did several films, and lots of fun. Put the family out of the depression, where parents were working for 20 cents an hour. Now all of a sudden, I'm making $75 a week, which is $1,490 a week now. Think of that contrast, okay? and we have first little house, first car. And Walt Disney calls, like I'm sure he did with Peter and his family. Walt Disney called my mom. I was in the kitchen when he called on the phone. Remember the phone? No, you're too young. we had phones on the wall, remember? And a speaker. No? Disney does not mind my being 100% honest about this. We didn't know Disney from Peterborough. Here's this guy on the phone, Mr. Disney, talking to my mom about wanting me to be the facial model and the voice for a deer in animation. My mom understood animation, but we didn't understand much else. I had nothing else going at the time. Okay? Mom said, yes, and invited us to Burbank, where Peter and I finally went at the same time, brand new buildings, okay, in Burbank, California, Disney. Not like this monstrous thing they got now, right? So, I had an agent. This guy was from New Jersey, and he could have been a 1940 movie gangster guy. And he always roots my mother. Now I'm 5.5. I was reading reasonably well. Had been 7 films, so I'm 5.5 going on 14. Is that fair? Okay. Mom calls this agent. Here he comes. In the car, right away to our house by UCLA in California. And my mom says, Mr. Disney, Walt Disney, some film company wants Donnie to do these things. He went into a tirade about cartoon, no, he can't do a cartoon, spoil his career. Cartoon. Was Disney a cartoon? No. It's a classic forever, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And my mom says, I remember this. You know, let's have him do that. It might be some fun. Because some of the other movies, rehearsal movie, stole my childhood. Literally, I just work from age 4 on, right? My mom was insistent in a nice way about my doing this. This guy got really rude with my mom. A few months before this, I had seen a stage manager fire a jerk. And I went, fire, out of here, bang. So I said, you're fired. If he'd been armed, he'd probably pull it out. And my mother said, he's paying your salary. You're fired. Out I go, right? And as soon as Mr. Disney found out, X days later, when we were first visiting, found out that I fired this guy. Apparently he knew about this guy, and that endeared me to Disney forever.
So who else? Don't be shy.
So, how did Disney just call you out of the blue, or did you have to actually do an audition for this?
Well, there was actually an audition. As I've been told, and I didn't count, there were like 30 kids doing the audition for Bambi, not for Thumper. And so these kids, I guess, were told the lines. I don't personally remember exactly what happens. Maybe Donnie does. He's a lot smarter than I am. But so they recorded all these kids talking, and my voice was totally not Bambi, and so later on, you know, we were told, you know, your kid isn't right for Bambi. I don't know what they did with Donnie, but I guess they called Donnie's mom and told him, but so a week or so after the audition, all the animators were decided they wanted to hear the voices of all these kids and see if they could use anything for one of the other characters in the movie. And so as they were listening, they heard my voice, and Ollie Johnson, one of the animators, said, "Hey, that kid would be great for the rabbit." And that was it. were no auditions for Thumper. So that's history. And so that, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely.
And were we blessed with this or not? How many of you remember a famous line from this nice man as Thumper? Okay? That a whole lot of children need today.
If you can't say something nice, don't say
nothing at all.
Hey world, listen to that.
It may well be the most repeated line in every family who's ever seen the movie.
And how about this one? And that's the good stuff. I'll share with you a real quick fun thing. Remember Peter's sharing with you how about seeing the deer, going to the deer? Halfway through the work on the facial model, before the voice, okay? I sit on a stool. Now mind you, I'm 5.5, I've been to some movies, I have the patience of 0, probably. You know. I'm sitting on a stool, wonderful artists sitting in a semicircle, I call the pencil guys. And they say, look left, hold it, look afraid, you know, look up. How many of you remember the scene early in the film where Bambi screws up, he's in a thicket like this, remember? And little Feline sticks her head through and gives him a kiss. Remember? And that's before he discovered ladies, okay? And he goes, "Urgh."
Yeah.
The artist, I remember this well, artist said, Donnie, now, we want you to look like something really bad's happened. Now, wait a minute. We're in the Depression. Thank God you weren't there. Okay? We're in the Depression. Pulled my family out of the Depression from 20 cents an hour to what? You know? Look bad? Nothing's bad happened. I go, that's not good enough. Look like something terrible's happened. Not good enough, right? Finally, some guy, smart fellow, said, Donnie, has your mother ever given you something bad, lady, that you didn't like? Yes. What was it? Castor oil. You just had a double dose of castor oil. So the next time you see Bambi do it again, and you see the kiss, he goes, that's the castor oil scene. And like I said, I had not seen a deer. Halfway through the thing, what's a storyline? Now, Disney does not mind me being straight about this, or else, okay? What is a storyline? All the other movies, I knew I was possibly a brat or a kid whose real name should be Shut Up, you know what I mean? What is this all about? Nobody gave me the book yet. They did later. What is this all about? I probably made a pre-Marine Corps pest on my show about what's this all about. So they had two nice guys in a big car limousine in those days with the hoods like a football field. And my mom, and they took us to, Peter probably knows better where this is, but very nearby a zoo, I think in Griffith Park or somewhere around that area in Los Angeles, and to see a deer. So I know what the heck I'm doing, right? Nice people. Went into Griffith Park. In a real clean pit to press down, decorated real nice, was a deer. One deer. Now mind you, the Bambi story with this guy in particular, very dynamic, right? Here's that deer. Frozen. I thought it was a statue. And a nice man gave me a nickel or something to put in a machine for corn. And I got real close, threw the corn down there. Here's the deer. Watch. That's it. Now, mind you, there's two Disney executive juniors with my mom there, right? Here's why I probably will never be a diplomat. Mom, I don't want to be that guy. He's boring. a couple of days later, I'm walking down the hallway, I hope going where I'm supposed to go, and here comes Mr. Disney, I think with his brother, I was never sure, very dignified, hard-working people, okay? I mean, example set people. And here he comes, I've been with him before, and he walking down the hall, he's coming the opposite way, he puts his hand up, says, well, wait, Johnny. Yeah, I think I said something clever like, yes, sir. Johnny, I understand you've been to the zoo. Yes, sir. And you saw a deer. Yes, sir. Quote, Johnny, I promise you, our Bambi will not be boring. Questions to Peter?
Okay.
So you said your lines were fed to you. You said your
What?
lines were being fed to you, to what to say, right?
Oh, absolutely,
So
yes.
on the famous line of "If you can't say nothing nice," on that dramatic pause, was that ad-libbed or was that they told you to pause?
Well, I'm not sure I understand exactly, but the lines were read by a director in the sound booth with me, with the inflections and the pauses and
Okay.
so forth. And so then, you know, I would repeat it back in segments, and really the director had to be more than just a director, because he was in charge of bringing the tone up, the enthusiasm that was sort of my natural being at that point in my life anyway. I was sort of a Dennis the Menace of the so it worked out pretty well, and I think they made a few changes during the course of the movie, just because of that attitude and approach that I had to things. They took advantage of that. Any other? Sure.
So it's funny that you would mention Dennis the Menace, because I was thinking that about your character. So that was actually just kind of, they took from you and you took from them, and it was a combination to make that character?
I'm not sure how much of a combination it was, because I was really a pretty smart aleck kid. But,
Okay, well, you did it very well, thank you.
Thank you.
What was it like for you guys to actually see the movie for the very first time and really see your voices with Bambi and Thumper behind them?
Well, I think the very first time that I saw the complete movie was actually at the premiere in Hollywood, where on August 19th, I think it was, of 1942. It was when the premiere of the movie came out. And the thing I remember most is not the movie itself, but as we were coming in, they had those gigantic Klieg lights. Do you know what a Klieg light is? During the Second World War, they used them to try and see enemy airplanes coming in. They were way big,
Yeah.
and the light shone way up. So any kind of atmosphere, dust, or anything showed up as a ray in the sky, and they used those during premieres in Hollywood. There were like 4 or 5 of them around the theater, and they would be shooting, you know, up like this, and they'd move around with the intention, of course, to bring attention to what was going on. And I really remember that a lot. So, you know, but I was there for the movie, and I really understood and appreciated it a little later on. But that was a pretty exciting time anyway.
On that excellent question, I get right to you, sir. Excellent question. We can use this now, I think. And Peter can probably reinforce this for us well. At the premiere, up in the valley, real close by Hollywood, up in the valley, northern Hollywood. Remember, Mr. Disney wanted to have Bambi released before Christmas 1941. what happened December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. He had to put it off. And the film had cost him a lot of money. I learned this later. He was really in trouble because of Bambi production. He loved it to death. You know why he was in trouble and why it took so long? Because he insisted that all the motions in it, okay, were done in oil, not watercolor, which was the common technique at the time. And if you're any artist in here, and that does, I am not, okay, it took a whole long timer to do oil vis-a-vis watercolor. And the premiere. Now, I had been in a lot of movies now. I hope I'm not a jaded kid, but I'm a aware kid, right? And I know where Mr. Disney was sitting, and a couple other people, and I'm sitting there with my mom, where I can see a lot of people. I look around and watch. When Bambi's mother was shot, remember that?
Yeah.
I saw mothers put their hands over their children's eyes. Now think about that vis-a-vis today. We're so jaded, everything's boom, boom, bang, bang, boom, boom, right? Chop, chop, chop. Overkill. And I'm an old combat man, I don't respect that either. It's boom, boom, all the darn time, right? Now Bambi's gonna be shot in a few minutes, right? Now I'm really watching, the same thing happened. Mothers put their hands over, or they whisper something in the child's ear, you know, like, and that's not to be seen or liked. You don't show death, particularly to an innocent animal. Look at that vis-a-vis today, okay? What a contrast. Thanks to this man, Mr. Disney, his brother, and the character of that company at the time, we've been able to use Bambi for good work, for good people, more than, I'll give you an example. I had some time with the late President Ford in the White House once, okay? And all the other things in life that we have, okay? Been able to use Bambi to do more good now, 80 years later, than all the other awards and medals and stuff, okay? I give a recent example in Texas, doing the virus, everything's down. Salvation Army, local Salvation Army are really pressed hard budget, okay? We're in trouble. And I have a long history with Salvation Army, and so we're gonna have the best gathering we can, and our local television try to help us, right? Really funny. And so, this is both sad and happy, okay? Really happy. The introduction was, and this and this, and did this and this, and did this and this. Everybody, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And there's some contributions, okay? Great. As soon as the narrator, which we don't have here, that's why this guy and me are doing the narration, right? As soon as the narrator said, and by the way, this jerk, this old guy, was the facial model and the voice of Bambi, you could hear the Bambi, Bambi, the contributions went up in the sky, bang! You know? So somebody says to us, what's Bambi to you in your life? I say it's like making 15 touchdowns and saving 50 lives. That's what Bambi is to us in our lives.
So, another question.
Did you get to meet your adult counterparts? The adult voices of Thumper and Bambi?
No, we didn't meet until
The View.
The View. We were on The View together with Whoopi Goldberg, and I can't remember all the other women, but Whoopi's very memorable. And that was the first time we'd met, and then really not again until I guess Donnie started earlier, but till I became involved in a few conventions like this, which was really a year and a half ago. And okay, does that answer your question?
Well, this was in my mom saw Bambi when she was a little girl, and I think she was telling me how when Bambi's mother was shot, she cried so loud they had to take her out of the theater. And so I just want to say, so I remember about some put their hands over the child's eyes.
Okay, thank you. I do have one more thing I'd like to say, two more things I'd like to say about the movie that I personally feel very strongly about. And one has to do with the artist who did the background art in the movie, Tyrus Wong, the Japanese artist. And if you see the movie again, or when you see the movie again, I hope you will, focus at some points on the background more than him or me, and you'll see some really beautiful, sort of surrealistic art that is really fascinating. And a few years ago, 10 or so, I was at a panel for one of the anniversaries of the movie, and Tyrus Wong was still he's passed on now, but he was still alive at the time, and he was there. And they showed the segments of the movie to illustrate part of his art. Definitely worth focusing on. You know, you go to a movie, you hear the music, you see the scene around the action, but you focus on the action. And very often there are things that are really worth focusing on. The other thing I'd like to point out and have you think about is that Disney and that movie the movie was one of the very first sort of overt actions that illustrated the environmental movement. And man does not come out looking real good on that movie. The hunters you never see, the fire that they didn't pay attention to and created that whole fire scene, which to me is much more dramatic than Bambi's mother getting shot.
Yeah.
But both are extremely emotional events in the movie. But think about the environmental movement that is going on today. And back in the 30s, when the movie was produced, that Disney had already started acknowledging that, subtly, but definitely there, I feel. So I'm sorry I had to expound a little bit on those things.
We have a prize for someone. You can't go to Disneyland and even buy this, and it's signed. Here's the contest, okay? Who can remember what the father said, magnificent father said, when Bambi was shot and Bambi's down, and the father came up over Bambi and said something very dramatic that's in history book. Who can remember that?
Get up.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
else?
Come, get up, Bambi. You must get up. Come with me.
You must get up. I love it to death.
Thank you very much.
And the reason that really burns with me is because the second time I was shot in Vietnam, I'm down. I'm the only officer left. A couple of lieutenants are not dead, but they're wounded, and we're outnumbered, and we're doing good, but I'm down. And the hand grenade blew up over here. Put scars on your head, okay? If I ever get bald, I'm ugly. I'm probably And it's in Marine Corps history books. I'm down. And nothing but a couple of young corporals and a bunch of troops. They're fighting like they think it's close, okay? And these young, one of them still alive in West Virginia, got over me. Remember, we're in the jungle, and I'm down. And I don't drink, but I must have looked like, duh, you know. Sir, get up, get up. You must, quote in history books, you must get up. We need you really bad, sir, you gotta get up. I'm conscious. And I got up, shook my head, bang, 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 bang. And that scene from Bambi came into my head. Wow. What is the odds on that, huh? And Marine Corps loves this story from these other kids. You know, they told it, I didn't, okay? And we beat these guys, they didn't know that we were outnumbered, and we ran them off, right? Think about the historic consequence of that. To play the part of Bambi down, you must get up. And then years later, down, bang, bang, get up, you must get up, okay? Think about what Peter said about the character of it, the forest, the environment, and all the little messages in Bambi. Because there must be some wonderful ones in there that we hear about all the time. We get mail all the time from all over the world. And from Russia even, I get mail, okay? It's just amazing. So, Mr. Disney, the artist that Peter complimented and well-deserved, and all the other things that which are making that story up are with us forever if we let it get in here and try to live by some examples with it. And we think we're finished with these wonderful people?
Probably.
Probably.
They're probably finished.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Donnie.